So this week our podcast is from the combine. We've started harvest and just starting to get started. The corn is 27 today. We've had a couple inches of rain over the last couple of days, and when we first got started, corn was between 24 and 26. So we've actually picked up a couple points of moisture. But hopefully, wind's blowing out of the north today, and sunshine, and hopefully in 24 hours we'll be back to where we were when we first started. So, in the combine with Clayton today, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the market.
So, corn harvest is officially starting through most of the I states right now. We talked about I states last week or 2 weeks ago. Guys in Indiana and Nebraska are definitely cutting. Illinois starting. Iowa guys are getting started. We're in Kentucky. People are starting to pick now. So what does this do now that we're seeing combines in the field? What does that mean for markets?
Well, automatically, most of the time when the combines start up, the basis drop, and we've talked about basis on here before. So what that is the market price minus transportation cost. So during harvest, the bases will always decrease because the supply is so great. So all this grain's coming out of the field, and it's got to have somewhere to go. And if it cannot go to the bins, it has to go to the ports. And these corporations know that, so um, inevitably they're going to reduce basis levels and take in as much as they can cheap. And so that's what we're seeing right now is basis is beginning to erode, and we also have a problem on the Mississippi right now with not enough rainfall in the upper Midwest, and it's causing low water levels. And what happens is the barges that transport the grain down the Mississippi River system, uh, they're very deep, and they draft those boats depending on how much water is in the river. And since our water levels are low, they reduce the draft on the boat. So maybe if they can draft 7 foot of the barge, uh, and they reduce that draft by 30%, then they can only have 4.5 feet below the water of grain. So that's what we're seeing. So we have um, kind of a drought going on in the Midwest, harvest starting and basis eroding. So if you didn't have your grain marketed before, set in a flat price, you're scrambling now.
Mm-hmm. So you guys have most of your own bin storage. And I think a lot of people probably do. Now is the time where usually you want to be the people who can at least put stuff away, right? You
That's
want to be
right.
able to
Yep.
basically put it in a savings account until you're ready to sell at the price you want.
That's right. And I think a lot of we are like this, and I think a lot of the operations in America now are like this, where they're marketing their grain 1 year in advance. Some of it's for tax reasons, so they can control the amount of revenue they take in a given year, and some of it is just trying to wait for those winter supply levels to drop. So as harvest starts to wane and supply starts to get lower, of course they have to bid up to get the grain into the ports. So the basis will improve in, say, December, January, February. So say you're taking $4 for corn on the Chicago market. Well, they may bid 25 cents up, on a positive basis, and you'll get 4.25. So I think that's what you see, a lot of people squirreling the grain away into January, and trying to wait on those basis levels to improve.
So where's the corn going? Like we talk about it having to go to ports or grain bins. Like where is it actually ending up? Who are the people buying this corn? Is it going overseas? Is it going to companies? Like where is all this corn that we're harvesting out of the field going? I mean, we're
Yeah,
harvesting literally semi loads of corn an hour.
yeah.
Where is all of it supposed to end up? Why are we growing so much corn?
So a lot of it here in this area will go down the river system all the way to the port and be exported. But most of the corn in the upper Midwest will just go to the feed yards, and we're going to feed out cattle and hogs and chickens with it. And that's a huge demand, just trying to keep all the meat products fed and to fatten them to market. And then we're so close to the Mississippi River Delta here that it's very easy for us to get it on the barge and ship it south. And um, those corporations, they design their systems. They know how much they need to get down to the Gulf, uh, and they utilize the people that are close to the river to be able to export cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, however much that the shipper pays to get it to the Gulf will be tacked onto the end user price. So the more it costs to ship, the more they're going to end up having to pay. So it's easier to use the guys close to the river system for the export market, and the guys that are more locked inland away from the river system to just be used local into the feed yards and chicken houses and such.
So are they working off the same prices? You know, the guys who are doing feed and the guys who are shipping out. Like, are they kind of basing it off the same price, or are they looking at it and saying, "Hey, like, you know, we can do a little bit better than that, or we can't buy it at that price"? Like, how are they
Yeah,
calculating all these prices?
like I have Tyson to look at here, who is a local chicken producer, and a lot of times they will bid up above our local markets just because they have an end use for it right here local. Their shipping costs will be very low because it's actually leaving the farm. Maybe going 15 or 20 miles to their mill so they can grind it into their feed product, and then right out to their barn. Versus an end user, say in Japan, that has to pay the cost of the barge to get it to the port at New Orleans and then shipped all the way across the ocean. That end user is going to pay more for it than, say, your local buyer that's just going to buy it directly from the farmer and put it right in his mill and right into his chicken barn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the advantage, I guess, of being an end user that is able to pull the product from your local market and put it right into your barn, versus your user in Japan that has to pay the cost to get it 2,500 miles to your location there.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Well, how's your corn doing? How much corn are we getting out of this? Is it looking good? Or
Yeah, I think Kentucky had a 40-day long drought in right around the middle of June to the center of July, and I was, I guess I was a little bit, I guess I wasn't optimistic that we were going to have a spectacular crop, but we ended up having plenty of rain from July 20th on to have a average to above average crop here in our local area. So the corn that we're harvesting here in this field is not the best this field's ever done, but I mean it's going to be probably a top 10 harvest here in our area. So with the factors that we've had so far, weather condition wise, I'm tickled to death with what we're getting. Because like probably if we'd have had rain a week later in July than what we had, we wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are right now. Probably a, poor to very poor crop versus a good to very good crop.
Yeah, so no crop insurance this year.
No crop insurance this year. That's always a good thing.
That'll be another conversation for another day. Crop insurance and all that stuff. But good to hear. Well, it sounds like it's a good time to be a Kentucky farmer.
It is.
So let's hope it keeps going well.
Yeah, I was talking to my guy that markets my grain today, and he was saying that around 20% of his clients are harvesting here in Kentucky. He said most of the bigger operators have started 3 or 4 days in and are seeing above average yields in their locations. So I think Kentucky has a pretty decent crop, and probably it looked like to me a spectacular bean crop, maybe the best bean crop Kentucky's ever had up to this point. So still a few weeks to go in that, but it's looking very good.
Sweet. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back in another week and a half. Expect these on a regular Tuesday is my guess, maybe Wednesday. So this is actually one that you guys will be seeing. So thank you for watching. Please share, please follow along. We've got lots of harvest content coming up. This is the time of year where it's really fun just to watch everyone in tractors and combines from the drone, in the cab, things breaking down. That's probably going to happen whether we like it or not. We were 2.5 hours into a brand new corn head and already lost a piece, so you can expect more stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be a great harvest season. we're excited for you guys to follow along.
Thanks.
See ya.
See ya.